I've eaten only mac and cheese for the past 17 years. Here's why. I'm not gonna watch this.
Into here,
I'm not gonna watch this whole video, I think, but I just want to know why he's only eaten mac and cheese for 17 years.
Oh yeah, I might want to try that. I've tried celery. I threw that shit up instantly.
Ew! It's like the gross kind of mac and cheese too.
Weird, but like, my body won't let me eat anything else. I didn't choose to be like this. Why do they have so many broccolis, you know? Do you eat the bush? I never would have chosen to be like this.
The bush, bro?
There's like gore. I'd rather have random chemicals than knowing that like, I gotta drain the blood out of my meat. Ew. I'm actually like serious. Like this is a problem. It's weird for me to think of eating any food that's not yellow. My name is Austin, and for the past 17 years, I've eaten almost nothing but mac and cheese.
Addicted to mac and cheese? This could be me, potentially.
This is my go-to pan, and I don't really like to deviate. There's another pan that my grandma sometimes uses, but like if a different pan gets used, like I can tell. I try to keep everything super specific.
He can tell if it's cooked with a different pan? There's no way. I'm 20 years old, and I
live in Keystone Heights, Florida. It's a backwater, for sure. Everyone was kind of the same, and if you were any different than the norm, it was super weird. I like seeing it. It's kind of crazy. All stacked up like that. Kind of puts it into perspective. Just a week supply of mac and cheese at all times.
Why Velveeta, bro? Like, why not Kraft?
Oh, I don't like mac and cheese.
Oh my god.
I love this cheese, man. This is some good-ass cheese. This is what normal cheese looks like to me. You know?
Why not neither? Velveeta's better. I don't like Velveeta.
So I don't eat with this like wooden spoon. I eat with some silverware.
Kraft
I just
is
take a seat at my desk.
I like the fake powdered cheese better than Velveeta. Velveeta's like Velveeta's like.
Any given night is gonna be Velveeta shells. I'll eat deluxe full cheese.
I don't like
and
Velveeta.
Normal Kraft, Annie's, and Bob Evans. Bob Evans is pretty good for like a microwave mac and cheese. I think most people see mac and cheese as a comfort food. I mean, you can't deny how good mac and cheese tastes, man. Like. It's definitely still like a comfort food for me because it does taste good. I'm like a walking advertisement for Velveeta, I don't know, but it's definitely.
Actually, I feel like it's the opposite.
I'm sick of it, but in the same way, like I don't want anything else, you know. When I try to eat new foods, the first thing that happens is like blinders on the food. It gets to the point where it's like somehow in my hand. I'm about to eat it. Like as soon as it enters my mouth, it's just like a sensory overload of all the things. This is the texture. This is the consistency. This is how it feels in your mouth. Oh God, there's the taste. And there's a bunch of new flavors that you've never experienced before. Or even if I like what I'm trying, I'll still have like this just kind of.
Yeah, how does he not have scurvy?
Like sometimes I've actually just straight up thrown up like on the spot. I've never bought anything other than mac and cheese for myself whenever I go shopping. This is all that I'll eat of Velveeta. Like I don't like.
Try some other ones.
Velveeta's always just been the most consistent. It always tastes pretty much exactly the same. I didn't even know they got mini ones, but I don't even want to try the mini ones just because that'd be different. You know, like too different. The bacon one grosses me out. I can't stand the thought of mixing that with mac and cheese. White bean? I don't even know what that is. Anything that adds to mac and cheese, like don't. It's mac and cheese, not mac and cheese and white bean. Like. And this is an abomination.
I can agree with that, actually. White bean and mac and cheese, no.
The texture of
I can agree with that.
Is like my favorite because it's like not mushy until you chew it. I know it's so bad for you. When I read the ingredients, I don't know what enriched macaroni product means. Like a bunch of stuff that I'm familiar with, but then a bunch of other stuff that sounds like it could be used to make like a chemical weapon. I could get some 4 cheese, but like, nah. There's definitely a lot of things I'm missing out on because of not eating. That thing, whatever that is, like the color throws me off of that. Like the color makes me upset.
Is that like yam?
Just because like bitter things is such a strong reaction. Meat is like the worst one to me. That was like a chunk of meat from an animal that had like muscle and fiber and like veins in it. Oh my God. It's kind of like a comfort zone in the hellscape that is the raw meat. Vegetables I know that I need to eat. Do you just eat an eggplant, like just take a bite out of it, or like what do you use an eggplant for? When I'm over there at the mac and cheese out, I know that there's something that I can walk up to and pick it up, put it in my cart. Like this, my girl. I'd rather just stick with my ride or die, you know. What brings you to counseling at this time? I have been struggling for years with being an extremely picky eater.
He's going to therapy for this?
My social life, and I soon fear it will begin to affect my physical health. This is my contact information for the therapist that I found. I didn't even find out that selective eating disorder was an actual diagnosable disorder until I was out of high school. I was laying in bed and I was just scrolling through YouTube. There's like 7 people who eat only one thing or something like that. It was by Good Mythical Morning.
Good Mythical Morning. What if you could only eat one thing for the rest of your life? That is the question of the day. Thought about that a lot.
At the very beginning, he starts specifying, he goes, so this is an actual disorder. It's called selective eating disorder. It's where these people have an avoidance to new foods and they just latch onto one food. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not crazy. Like, it has a name. This thing has been hanging over my head,
I mean,
so that means I'm having a point to
it's a
attack it from.
disorder. It's
Yes,
a
I have.
disorder.
I was recommended to go to a mental health professional by DCF, where I was
I'm not crazy. I have a
diagnosed
disorder.
with
I
PTSD
can
from
relate.
an abusive household.
Oh no.
My parents did the best they could with what they had. My dad was really awesome sometimes, and sometimes he was not so awesome. You know,
Oh,
like
God.
there's a lot of conflict. It would get physical between me and my dad, where I actually got removed from the home. That day I was asked to take the trash out, and so like I took the trash out, and there was like a stack of papers right next to the trash. And so my dad comes out, and he starts yelling at me for taking I guess it was like payroll papers or some really important like that. He comes up and he tried to take my skateboard from me, because of course I skateboarded. He walked back in, he was like, I just snapped that fucking board. I just broke your board over my knee. And like, that was the first thing that I'd ever bought,
What
like
the
on my
fuck?
own, like with my own money. And so like, I just turned and I kicked at the wall and my foot went through the wall. My dad charged at me, knocked me down, and pummeled me while I was on the ground. And he slammed my head into a coffee table. I was all bloody and I passed out on my neighbor.
Jesus.
That was when DCF came in and started like an investigation. It was definitely during that time where like I was like just super, super sad. That's where I get the idea from like I eat mac and cheese, because like in that time, it was the only thing that like if I asked for like on a bad day wouldn't cause conflict. I had to learn how to make it
So
myself.
comfort
It was always
food.
like, well, I know that I'm gonna have mac and cheese tonight. Like I can control that.
He never could say why he didn't want to eat anything
Wait, this
else.
got sad all
We've
of
never
a
forced him,
sudden.
never even tried to force him.
That's real hard for me because I'm from old school. I was brought up to someone fixed my plates, you ate everything was on it, and you stayed there till you did eat everything that was on it.
Oh my God, I love my grandparents. They're very accepting. They never make me feel ashamed about it. It's never like you need to change, you have something wrong. It's always like, we're just worried that you're unhealthy.
I think he'll always be with me, you know, and I don't care. He wants to stay here until he's 30. It's okay with me. Maybe not so much Grandpa,
Oh.
but he's a good boy.
Yo, Moon, thanks for the sub.
Jared's like my brother, essentially. He's like my best friend above all. I can probably count on 2 fingers the amount of time that I've brought up like my eating with Jared.
I think he had told me about it before that all he ate was mac and cheese, and it seemed kind of weird at first, but I don't really judge people. I don't know, because it's like, if you want help, I'm not against helping you, but it's kind of one of those things like you can't help someone that doesn't want help,
Yeah.
and it seems like you
Yeah,
get
he
a lot of
doesn't wanna eat
opportunities to
anything
try
but
other
mac
foods,
and
and you
cheese,
show no
so.
interest in it. So again, I'm not going to push the issue because I know I can't change your mind.
True. I definitely used to
Look
be
at that
embarrassed.
cat.
Like, oh man, I'm just weird.
That's
There
a
was a time
fat
where like
cat.
I just felt excluded. I barely ever even really go out to eat with my friends, because I would just be sitting at the table with my plate
Well,
of
what
mac
are
and
they
cheese as
eating?
opposed to everyone's full plate. A lot of people struggle to understand
Spaghetti
it. So
and
like
meatballs?
a lot of people that I
They got
choose to
some
tell
Texas
about it don't
toast?
ask, because they know that I'm actually like serious, like this is a problem, We're heading to ground zero boxing. It became like a thing where like I just wanted to prove to myself, having the background of like my trauma as a kid and having PTSD and not being able to be around any kind of like physical conflict, to like going and being in a ring with someone and just like straight beating the shit out of each other. It felt like I was making myself feel worthy. I started boxing 3 years ago. Whenever I went
Canute's
for the
next
first
to
couple times,
wait,
like, I
hold
just
on. Sorry, I gotta see this. Yes!
Entire day, and I just want to make you next to Kirby. Yeah, that's a perfect
There?
idea. Yeah, right there. Okay. Big smile. Yeah. Amazing.
So small beside the Kirby.
No one's a shred of his hand.
No.
Kirby's on some other shit.
I feel like I did a pretty good job with the abs. They're like
He actually
almost
does a lot of
symmetrical.
Should we go through what the individuals has lost? Just to have done it for this.
Should have painted him pink. Oh, true, I could have made him buff Kirby
From the
instead.
beginning till now.
So, drum roll, please.
We can do 1 and 1.
Ryan has lost.
Ryan is
Some
simply
big-
from
I started at.
Boob.
You started at 289.5 pounds,
Okay.
and you've gotten down to
Very nice. Back to mac and cheese, man.
the working out, and then I love feeling like I was like a part of something. My coach's name is Giovanni. He's just the best. Dude's like a dad to me. I exercise 4 times a week, really heavily at the gym. I got up to like a really unhealthy weight because I stopped going to boxing. So like I'm at the age now where I know that my metabolism has slowed down. I definitely know that I have to maintain physical activity to keep myself fit.
It's okay.
Just to counteract my terrible, awful carb-filled diet.
Come on. A little bit more. Just a little bit more.
I went to the doctor for a physical 5 weeks ago now. It's a new doctor, so I told him I've only eaten mac and cheese for like 17 years, and he was like, when you're older, it's gonna be a problem. He's like, but for right now, I have no worries. Part of me kind of wishes he would have said something more scary than you're fine. I feel like I need someone to tell me, like, if you don't change, like, you're gonna feel the consequences, you know?
He told me he had a mac and cheese diet, and I was like, what? I was like, well, you know, you're boxing, but you're gonna have to start eating right if you wanna go ahead and get in better shape. That's it, Austin, come on. Show me you're a winner, let's go. When it comes to mental health issues, if you can't talk about what's going on, then you can't get the help you need. I feel like a lot of men think that's a weakness when it's not. You know, if there's a problem, the weakness is ignoring it. Let's go, finish strong, finish strong. That's all you got? That's all I got. Not bad, kid, not bad. Did you go to work today?
Yes, sir.
Love you, kid. Tell grandpa and grandma I send my love, okay?
Of course. More than anything, I want to be like my best me, and I'm taking steps to get there. Tomorrow I'm meeting a new therapist named Ashley. I hope it's going to give me the ability to be at a neutral, unbiased stance whenever I try new foods. It's like the stepping stone to being able to do the things that I want to do.
Are they gonna make him eat like a hot dog or something?
Since I've been to a therapist's office.
He's gonna
never
puke.
Dealt with anyone who had SED. Her solution was to just go home and like soak some broccoli and cheese and just try it. If only it was that easy. Whenever I left there to try and find another therapist's office, it was very, very difficult, and has proved to be very difficult to find any reasonable therapist who takes my insurance companies.
I mean, cream corn is closer to mac and cheese than a lot of other things.
Hello.
Austin,
How you doing?
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Come on in, take a seat. Tell me more about your story.
For so long, like, it was just a shadow that just like loomed over me. As soon as I knew that it had a name, like, it gave me like a hope.
What is a normal day like trying to eating for you?
I'll have like a box of Velveeta shells mac and cheese. That's typically just what I eat through the day. Like, that's it.
Pretty specifically, that brand, a single kind, right?
I'm just alone in my room eating it.
And if you went back to that planning piece, what do you see in that?
Dinner has always been water, pan, pot, you know, like on the stove, 8 minutes, and then like you're done.
That makes me want to look at what meals have been like throughout life.
I never remember ever eating family dinners like at the table, and I would always eat mac and cheese. All the adults said was just like, oh, he's just in his picky eater phase.
Yep.
Anytime I try something new, even if I like the first bite of it, I almost will always have an involuntary just gag.
What's the experience that goes with that gagging? What have you noticed?
Oh, it's embarrassing. Like, it's super embarrassing.
I think through the lens of trauma a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So have you experienced physical abuse?
Yes.
And so if you think of fight, flight, or freeze.
Yeah, I was a freezer.
Can you relate those feelings now to what it's like?
Like, Emmy, no!
If I sit down.
That's only to
I'm in a
me
room with the
hearing
intention of
gross
trying new
things.
food,
I'm
my
not a
stress
picky
immediately
eater at all.
skyrockets, like,
Okay.
and it like stays up until like
I eat almost
the ultimate
anything.
moment hits where like I try it and then like I have that gag reflex. I'm like, all right, out of the way. I didn't like it, and then like it's done, and then like it goes down, or like I get out of the room and then.
You basically draw the stress curve with your hand whenever.
Peanut butter? That's one thing. I do hate
happening.
peanut butter.
That's part of what my job is to teach people.
Yeah.
To understand what's
But
happening.
that's like
and
the
that it will
one-
have a beginning and end. It's going to come
One
up.
popular
And it's gonna go
food
down,
that I
it
really
goes down.
hate.
But we often feel it rising and think that it's going to continue to just go up.
Yeah.
What we want to do as we're approaching
Yeah, I
foods
have it on one
is
point.
know what might happen.
2.5.
And regardless, we're going to be working on building skills to keep you grounded in your body. You know,
Is
we're
it too
looking at a
fast? I like
hierarchy
it
of
like
foods
this.
that you'll establish.
Right.
And so it's exposure, and then it starts to extinguish some of the fear. We build a new pathway, and that pathway looks like I actually can feel this feeling and go forward and, and live.
I just hope like I can get to a place where like I'm equipped to deal with like what I'm feeling when I try new foods. That way I can try new foods at like a neutral, unbiased look.
Oh, I forgot to ask.
Just having the massive anxiety associated with it.
What is that game called again?
From like who
the
I
ass
who I
game
am,
that
you know?
people are
It's like
mad
a relative
about
whenever I was in like,
because
a worse
her ass
mental
is
place,
out.
and like it's just kind of stuck with me. You know.
Is
Like,
it on
That is a
Steam?
really great
Stellar
way to
Blade?
conceptualize it.
Do I need
It's
to
a part
like
of you
download it on
you don't
my
need anymore.
PS5 or is
That
it
is so
on
deeply
Steam?
ingrained that it's still there.
Yeah.
You have a lot of
PS5?
insight. I'm pretty motivated to do
I
it.
should probably
for
download it
sure.
now
So I
then.
can like slowly open up like what restaurants I go to and stuff.
You want to be able to go to more restaurants.
more restaurants, just be more social with eating and stuff. You know.
What we'll do from here is just look at frequency and when you can come in next so that we can make the most of your time.
Just to
with
make
me.
sure I have
Super
it.
excited.
All right, Austin, thank you so much for coming in.
Yes, I'm so excited to work with you.
Safe travels back.
Meow,
very
meow,
much. You
meow.
have a
Oh,
good day.
fuck, I unplugged.
It was
My,
wonderful meeting Austin. He has so much insight and such an openness to developing a better understanding. He's truly motivated to do this work, even though he knows it's going to be really uncomfortable for him.
I think it went better than expected, actually. She's definitely really cool. Definitely gives me hope, especially since she's so confident and how much I'll succeed. Like makes me feel really good. Makes me feel really confident.
Mac and cheese for many is a comfort food. For Austin, while it has had
I
that
could eat.
effect,
I could eat
it's
mac and
not about
cheese
that
every day.
anymore. He
Oh,
would like
God.
to be able to eat other foods, to have variety, and to eat vegetables. But he feels crippled and paralyzed by the idea.
I don't know
of
if he's
eating
gonna get
stuff.
to vegetables.
And so he falls back on mac and cheese because it's what his brain and body will allow. It's where he can have some peace. And so you're having to work against your body to get yourself to sit with food in your mouth. The perceived threat is so much more than the actual experience. but you can't convince your body of that without doing a lot of work to chip away at it.
I'm not ashamed of who I am. I wouldn't want my kids to see me just eating mac and cheese all the time. While my kids eat a more balanced meal than me. Oh my God. I found out about selective eating disorder just by pure luck. It was just like a nameless thing that just hung over me, and like I just thought like that was just one of my idiosyncrasies, like one of my little quirks. I definitely didn't choose to be like this at all. This selective eating disorder just has its hooks in me, and it's just like holding me back. It's exciting thinking like I could get to a point where like I'm able to try new foods and possibly, you know, like them and enjoy them.